Today we're doing lesson 24, divide decimal dividends by multiples of 10, reasoning about the placement of the decimal point and making connections to a written method. This is something that we've already done. We did this in module 1. Again, we did do reasoning about placement with multiples of 10 earlier on in topic E. So this is really a review. Now, what I had the students do is, as we see over here, we have 1 and 8/10 divided by 6. I like to tell the students, let's write 1 and 8/10 as 18/10. This makes it to where we drop the decimal, and we can easily say, well, what is 18 divided by 6? And we all know 18 divided by 6 is 3. So 3 times 6 is 18. We go ahead and subtract that out and get 0. Again, we check our work. Before we check our work, we do have to add this tenths back on. So this is actually 3/10. And we can rewrite that as decimal 3. So we have 3/10. Well, 3/10 times 6 equals 18/10. It's still important that we're checking our work and we're multiplying our decimals. It's a good review on multiplication of decimals, so we're still trying to do that. And checking our work is really good as well. We took a quiz today, and it was pretty good, especially the students that were able to check their work and able to go back and fix their mistakes. You know, they made really good grades, so checking our work is important. Well, let's look at B, because B is going to turn around and say, all right, well, what is 1 and 8/10 divided by 60? Well, how we can solve this is, I told the students, don't do the unit form yet, so don't make it 18/10 yet. Let's first do 1 and 8/10 divided by 10 divided by 6. Again, this is going back to that topic E, where we separated it into its multiples, into its factors. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and divide 1 and 8/10 by 10. Well, we know through through the place value chart and placement on the place value chart that we can easily just say 1 and 8/10 divided by 10 is the same thing as moving our decimal forward, because our number is moving to the right one place on the place value chart. So if this was ones, decimals, tenths, hundredths, we know that we're going to go from 1 and 8/10 to moving it to the right on the place value chart once, because we have 1 0 here, so we know it's once. And through that, we notice now that it's 18/100ths, but we can also just say, let's move that decimal up one place value, or to the left, which moves the number to the right. So it makes the number smaller, and it also puts it in the correct place. So we know 1 0 moves the decimal up one place. So we can go ahead and do that easily and just say, okay, well, this is now 18/100ths divided by 6. So now we can write 18/100ths divided by 6, and that is the same thing as 18 divided by 6, which again is 3/300ths. So we end up with 3/100ths. Again, we should be able to convert that back into decimal form, which states it's going to be decimal 03. And then we are also going to check that with multiplications. Again, we could say 3/100ths times 6, and we get 18/100ths, which is the same thing. All right, so we're able to do that. Now let's move on to, let's see what else we should do. So that's A and B. Let me see if there's any other ones on this page. Yes, there's one where we divide, this one down here, we're dividing by 400. So I want to just show, it also has it as 80 divided by 400. So it doesn't already have the decimal placement. So what I tell the kids is, you always know that beside the ones place, there's always going to be a decimal. Beside the ones place, there's always a decimal to the right. So we can just put in our decimal. So now we have a decimal, and we know, okay, well, this is the same thing as 80 divided by, divided by 100 divided by 4. So we know it's the same thing as 80 divided by 100 divided by 4. Well, we know that this is two place values that we're going to move our number. So we're going to go 1, 2. So now we have decimal 8 or 8/10 divided by 4. Again, we can drop the decimal and call this 8/10 divided by 4. This is our lovely unit form. And then we can do, well, what is 8 divided by 4? That's 2. So we end up with 2/10. So let's see. 2/10 correct. All we have to do is check our work. And the easiest way to check our work is by multiplying. So let's go ahead and multiply. So 2/10 times, let's see, what is our original divisor? 400. So 2/10 times 400, decimal 2 times 400. Or we could say, I like to put the bigger number on top. So 400 times 2/10, make it that unit form. I get 0.008, so I get 800/10, which is the same thing as 80. All right, so it's very simple and easy to do. We just got to make sure that they remember their place value alignment in their place value chart. Let me draw this place value chart so we can see it again. I know it's something that we're still trying to remember. So we have ones place, decimal, tenths, hundredths. Oh, I didn't really give myself enough room. And then beside the hundredths, I'm going to move this all over. I'm going to do it also in standard form, make it a little easier. So we have ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and then over here we have tens, hundreds, and so on. We can also do fraction form. I like fraction form, especially since we're about to start fractions. And these are, it's easy to say 1/10, 100th, 1,000th. Easy to say. All right, so let's see. I just want them to, which problems should we just have them work? We're just going to do, they can, I like I, because I do want them to work with 100. Let's see. Let's get a tens place. And then let's also do this one. This is only 4 problems. So let's see, F, I, K, and L. All right, those are for those page. Let's look at use place value reasoning and the first quotient to compute the second quotient. All right, so this is what I was explaining to the kids. So we know that this is in the tens place, and this one is in the ones place. So per that, where is our decimal going to go? Well, when we divide, the more zeros we have when we divide, the smaller the number is going to be. So we can automatically say, okay, well, this should just be 8 2/10. And we know that because of the fact that now we're just dividing by 8. We're not dividing by a multiple of 10. So we should be able just to move our number. So instead of it being 82/10, we should be able to move our number up on the place value chart into the ones place. Now, we can also use the fact that we know 8 times 8 equals 64. So we know that it should be probably a whole number. Again, that's one of those things I'm trying to get them to understand. Use your basic facts and your common knowledge to answer some of these questions. We know 8 times 8 is 64. Well, that's close to 65. So this answer has to have an 8 in the ones place. So let's go ahead and move on to, let's see, B. B, again, same thing. It's in tens. So now we need to move our number back up 1. So we're going to go, well, it should be decimal 5/10. And for the same reason as it was up here, we went from the tens place to the ones place. So we didn't move it as much on the place value chart because we didn't divide by 10. So it only moves one place instead of 2 places. All right. So we're going to try to have them just do C. There's not really much. Well, no, let's do D as well. These two do 2 different ways. One moves up and one moves down. So let's see if we can answer those. And then let's see, 3rd page. All right, the last page says Chris rode his bike along the same route every day for 60 days. He logged that he had gone exactly 127 and 8/10 of a mile, or 8/10 miles. How many miles did he bike each day? Show your work to explain how you know. This is a tricky one. This is a little more advanced, so I'm going to set it up for them. This isn't something they've done yet. So they're trying to figure out how much they've done each day. They did 127 and 8/10. So I'm going to go ahead and we can move this to where we have it as hundreds. So we can do 6, 1,278 hundredths. So you can solve either way. So we can solve this way or we can solve this way. I prefer this way because we have 1 digit. Over here we have 2 digits. Again, anything that makes it easier. And then just finish them out. Let's see. Then you have to find over the course of 2 weeks, which is really good. Working on that multiplication, seeing if we could turn it around from days to 2 weeks. See number 4, 2 and 1 liters of coffee were equally distributed to 30 cups. How many milliliters of coffee were in each cup? So 30 cups, and we have 2 and 1 liters. Let's see, and then it changes to milliliters. So we know the conversion of liters to milliliters. We know 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. So they're going to have to, this is going to be that question. I want them to try it. They're going to have to first divide and then find out how many milliliters. So, it's a 2-parter. So let's see if they can get that one. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a great day.